And under this, please, we are talking about with regrouping, subtraction with regrouping. So with regrouping, or we call that borrowing back in the day when you was young and restless and bored. Here's your example problem that we will talk about. Let's say we have 5 1/3. 5 1/3 minus 2 2/3. First thing, Charlie, being new here, you know what?
You line up them up?
What you probably say, write it up and down, right?
Yes.
Right up, down. And after you write it up and down, you will realize something. 5 1/3 minus 2 2/3. Here is where we run into a little bit of a snag. For the simple reason, Sam, you cannot take 2/3 away from a 1/3, can you? So we have an issue here. We're going to have to do what? Borrow. But before we do that, let's actually do this. Let's do it out circle-wise. Let's look at the hard numbers here. I have 5 and what? 1/3 of a circle. I'll erase what I don't need. There is 5 1/3, right? And what am I taking away? I'm taking away 2 2/3. So I am going to take away, well, let's take away this circle. Here's 1 and here's 2, right? We're taking away 2. Now here's the deal, and this is why I have to borrow. I'm taking away 2/3, but this thing's only cut into 1/3. So what's the fix for it? The fix is I need to take one of my other circles and cut it into thirds so I can take 1/3 of it away. So I'm going to take away this third and this third. I take away, there's my 2 2/3 I'm taking away. What? I know my answer has to be what? 2 whole ones plus 2/3 of that other one there. That's what I know my answer is. Let's take a look and see. Now, going back to this, how do I borrow? I have to take away from this 5, so I'm left with only 4 whole circles. What did I do? This is like my borrowing thing. What did I do to that one circle? I split it into 3 pieces, right? Now, that would mean if I take that 3 pieces and put it with the 1 piece I had over here, how many thirds actually did I have? Right here, how many thirds did I have altogether? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this number actually becomes 4 thirds. When you borrow, boys and girls, you know, you're used to the fact of you borrowing tens. Well, that's not the case with fractions. This 4, you don't get 10 thirds because that would be a lot more than what we borrowed. Okay? You just get a 4 there, and then you can do your subtraction. 2/3 from 4 thirds is another 2 thirds, and 2 from 4 is 2. Now, when we borrow, then, what would be the rule? What is an easy rule to remember when you borrow from fractions? Let's do one more. What if I have 7 2/5, and I'm subtracting 3 3/5 from it? Alright, again, I can't take 3/5 from 2/5, so I have to borrow. The 7 becomes a
6.
Now the question is, what is my new fraction? When I take 1 away from this, what is my new fraction over here going to be? And again, it's not going to be 12/5. You don't just, it's not like normal subtraction when you do that, just carry it over to 2. What is it going to be, Sam? It won't be 6/5. Now, here, remember what I did over here. I took one of the circles, okay, and because I need fifths, I take my one circle and I cut it into fifths. So my one circle stands for 5/5. So if I put the 5/5 with the 2/5, how many fifths do I have on top now? 7/5. And then I can do my subtraction and get 4/5 and 3 4/5. Now, what I'm asking you for is there a simple little rule that when I borrow from this, I can do to my fraction every time? There is one, and it's really pretty simple. Lydia?
Add to the denominator.
Exactly. When you borrow, let's jot that down. When you borrow, comma, dramatic pause.
I thought it would be easier to make sure you return.
What's that?
Well, when you borrow, you should always return.
Yes, when I borrow something, then it would be stealing if you didn't. Add the top and bottom together for your new numerator. I'll let you jot that down. Give it a nice little bubble look here. When you borrow at the top and the bottom together for your numerator. Which is exactly what happened here. Remember when I borrowed here, I added 3 plus 1 and I got 4. Here I added 5 plus 2 and I got 7. It works for no matter what. Everybody got that written down. I have one more problem. So if you have, I don't know, 6 5/8 minus 2 7/8. Now, please remember, you don't borrow every time you do subtraction, but we do if the bottom fraction is bigger than the top fraction. So I'm going to borrow from the 6 because I need more fraction over there. So the 6 becomes a Lacey 5. The question is, what is my new top number on the fraction there? And the rule is you simply add these two numbers together and that will be your top, which is 13. And then you can do your subtraction. By the way, if you have to borrow, children, here's a food for thought. You should never get an improper fraction when you have to borrow. In other words, if you borrowed and you subtracted and I got like 9/8, you did something wrong. Because if you had 9/8, you had enough, the fraction had to be bigger than the fraction on the bottom to begin with. 7 goes into 13 6 times. 2 from 5 is 3. 3 and 6/8 is wrong. Simply because, John?
Simply because.
Sam?
You have to reduce.
Yeah, 6/8 can be said simpler by reducing or cutting them both in half. You get 3/4. You must, we have to, we've been reducing, haven't we? We have been reducing, haven't we? Yeah, you must reduce, which we called before simplifying. You must triple, quadruple, exclamation. Good enough. All right, then for tomorrow,